Hey traders, this is Kim from Ninja-Addons.com. In this video, I'm going to present you the different settings and options you can access directly from the new user interface that we developed in the Chartist Indicator. Are you ready? Let's go. First, we need to load the Chartist Indicator, and for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to leave it at the default settings and click OK to load the indicator on the chart. As you may already know, the new Chartist Indicator detects 8 Chartist patterns, and some of them are totally new, like the cupwood handle or the head and shoulders. Now, from here, you can configure almost everything with regards to the display, like the line color, the line thickness, the font, and its size, as well as the ratios and other different numerical values that define each pattern. In this video, I'm going to focus on the display settings, and in the next video, I'll explain the settings you can find in the ratio subpanel, as you can see here on my screen. So let's take the cupwood handle pattern. By the way, what I'm going to explain with the cupwood handle pattern is the same for every pattern, alright? Okay, so the first tab that you can see when you open the panel is the display tab. This is where you can control the draw of the pattern on the chart. So the display mode controls the display of the pattern. And when it's set to none, it means no pattern is displayed, of course. On the contrary, when set to all, it means all cupwood handle patterns are displayed. Lastly, you can decide to visualize only the latest pattern, which is the most current, by setting the display mode to current. As you can see here, there's now only one pattern displayed. Right? Next, you have the validation and invalidation settings. As you can see here, there are two lines on the pattern called validation line and invalidation line. These lines are very important because when the pattern is in partial state, it means we don't know if the pattern is good or not, and one of these lines is broken. So the pattern is either validated or invalidated. What is important here is to define what we mean by the line is broken. So it can be by a single tick above or below the line, or it can be by the close of a bar above or below the line. By default, we decide to validate a pattern when the validation line is broken by a close of the bar, and the invalidation occurs when a single tick breaks the invalidation line. But again, this is our choice, and you can change this according to your trading style. So, if we take an example, you can see here a pattern in partial state because the line is dashed. At this point, the pattern can be validated if the close of the bar breaks the validation line, or invalidated if the price breaks by at least one tick the invalidation line. Let's scroll. Here you go. The pattern is validated. Let's take another example. Here's one. So you can see that the validation line is broken by a tick, but not by the close of the bar. So the pattern stays in partial state. Next, price goes up and breaks the invalidation line. So the pattern is invalidated. Now, if I had set the validation to a break by a tick, I will need to uncheck this, reload. There. As you can see, the same pattern would have been validated. And the last thing that's very important about these two settings is that they require the chart to be reloaded because they have a real importance in the calculation of the pattern, like a ratio, for example. Otherwise, you will not see any change. Okay, now let's continue with the next settings. Here, you can set the color of the pattern, the color of the outline, and the opacity and line thickness. As you can see, the changes are applied automatically, so you don't need to reload the chart. Then you can control the pattern name display. You can choose whether or not you want to display the name. You can set the font and its size and color. Finally, you can choose to hide or display partial and invalid patterns. A partial pattern is when neither the validation nor the invalidation line is broken. It can be nice to display it if you want to anticipate a pattern. Now, an invalid pattern is when the invalidation line has been broken. It can be good to display them just to see what happened because sometimes a pattern is invalidated by the algo, but personally, we could decide that the pattern is still good, all right? So by displaying it, you will be able to trade it if you want. But just keep in mind that it will display a lot of pattern on your chart, so use it with moderation, right? Okay, now let's move on to the guide tab. So what we call the guide are the validation and invalidation lines, and also the projection lines you can see here, for example. So I already explained the importance of the validation and validation lines as well as their meaning. So from here, as you can see, you can choose to display or hide them or choose a color and font according to your preferences. So the tag is simply just a label with the name inside to help you quickly visualize and know what the level corresponds to. Next, you can configure the projection lines. The projection lines are the theoretical projections that come with each pattern. This information is taken from the classical charting theory that you can find all over the internet or in some books, and it is important to understand that it's not a trading advice or recommendation from us. So we plot them because it can be helpful to find an area of objective for your trade if you decide to trade a pattern, but in our opinion, it should not be an exact level that you can just trust just because it's plotted here, right? Like for the validation and validation lines, you can decide to hide or show them and set their color, tags, font, etc. And you can also control the tag opacity from here. Finally, let's see the volume tab. So this is something we've added in the new version of the Chartist Indicator because the Chartist theory gives importance to them, and it was clearly missing in the NT7 version of the Chartist Indicator. So from this tab, you can control the look of the volume by displaying with a mountain style or histogram style, or you can simply choose to hide them by selecting none. You can also increase or decrease the height, which is expressed in percentage on the total height of chart. And finally, you can change the color and opacity. That's all for this video. Again, the explanation given were for the cup with handle pattern, but they're also true for all other patterns. And also, one last thing before closing this video, we have provided 6 chart templates, and these are installed automatically in your computer. So, as you can see here, there are 2 Chartist templates, one for light and the other one for the dark skin. In this case, all patterns are configured with nice colors and specific display models. There are also 2 Chartist classic templates, one for light and the other one for dark skin. Classic stands, by the way, for rectangle or flag and triangles. Lastly are the 2 Chartist complex templates, again one for light skin and the other one for dark. Complex stands for double and triple, top, bottom, and cup with handle, as well as head and shoulders pattern. Alright, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and again, if you have any question, suggestion, or feedback, don't hesitate to send us a note at contact@ninja-addons.com. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel to get notified when a new video is published. Thanks for watching. Bye!